What up, gang? Lane Carolina Jackpot time coming at you. It is Sunday afternoon. That also means that it's October 9th, 2022. And it is very fun and it's very refreshing. And it's felt great today to know I was going to be able to come at you this afternoon with a video talking about my team's performance in last night and not having to make a bunch of excuses and not having to try to explain away a loss. It just feels good. With that being said, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy the content here. Please subscribe if you are new to the channel. We do college football videos here all the time, mainly South Carolina Gamecocks, but I'm a big college football fan as well. This video is going to be a little bit long. We're going to have three parts to it. First, I'm going to break down the Gamecocks win over Kentucky last night real quick. I'm not going to go over a whole lot in details. I'm sure that most of the free world was watching that game last night, and if you did, you saw the way the game folded out, and it was very good for the Gamecocks in the way that it ended up there. I'm also going to talk about some opportunities I saw, which there were many, and then my favorite part of this thing, we're going to get to a sour grape segment from the Kentucky fans. You know, whenever you have a sports contest, there's got to be a winner, there's got to be a loser, for the most part, unless you're a sport that allows ties. And yesterday's game was no different. Kentucky was the loser, and some of their fans took to Twitter, Facebook, and other various media outlets yesterday and kind of, well, made asses of themselves. And we're going to look at some of the sour grapes here in just a few minutes, so make sure you stick around for that. You don't want to miss that part. It's going to be good. And, hey, if you're a Kentucky fan and you got sour grapes last night, who knows? I might feature your dumb ass on this thing. Wouldn't that be great? It would make you famous, right? And then after that, we're just going to talk some college football, big winners and big losers from yesterday, week number 6. Let's get into it right now. Let me just start off by saying that I'm not going to spoil anybody's happy here today. If you're a Gamecock fan, I mean, it feels good. It feels great to go on the road and get a win in the SEC. It feels even better to go on the road and beat a ranked team in conference. And even more than that, it feels better than that to go on the road and beat Kentucky. Or beat Kentucky anywhere for that matter. I mean, this team obviously has had South Carolina's number since 2014. Granted, since 2014, I mean, Kentucky has had better teams than what they had pre-2014. I think we can all agree on that Kentucky was a very, very bad football program from, the late 70s, I guess, all the way up to around the middle 2010s. 2015-ish was when Mark Stoops really started turning it around there, started turning the corner. So, you know, it kind of goes hand in hand a little bit there. But going on the road last night and getting this, beating a team that you should have beaten, that you were capable of beating, feels great. With that being said, there were things last night that, especially in the first half of the ball game, that Carolina Jackpot was not pleased with. You watched the live stream last night. I wasn't, of usual sorts last night. Sick, still getting over it, feeling better today. There were some things that really got up under my skin. One of those being South Carolina's just absolutely abysmal defensive line play in the first half of last night's game. Chris Rodriguez pounding the rock for 10, 12 yards a clip. It seemed like, he'd peel off a couple of long runs, 10, 12, 8 yards, carrying defenders. You got to stop that shit, okay? You got to stop that. He went for well over 100 yards last night, 126 on 22 carries. Wasn't enough, though. I mean, we did what we had to do. We rose up to the occasion when we had to. But that's got to be a focal point. And is that a problem that can be fixed in one bye week? I honestly don't think it is. I think that there's still a lack of toughness up front on the defensive side of the football. And maybe just, a lack of overall strength there. Their offensive line was pushing you around for a better part of the first half of that game. And then it seemed like, the more, Rodriguez started getting bottled up a little bit. I don't know if it was so much that our defensive line started playing better or that Rodriguez started running out of gas a little bit. But he started getting bottled up. They started finding it difficult to move the football. And that's when we took over and took command of that game. That's when the sacks started happening too, because I think their offensive line, first string is mediocre. And I had said this in the offseason that Kentucky was probably going to struggle on the offensive line this year because they had lost a ton of dudes with a ton of starts, and nobody wanted to believe me. These Kentucky fans were in the comment section of that video last summer telling me, oh, no, no, we got NFL talent up there. You ain't heard of Miss So-and-so and so-and-so and all these people that were, I'm like, who? Huh? I knew they were going to struggle a little bit, and they don't have the depth there, kind of like South Carolina. And I'm not saying South Carolina's offensive line is great by any means or any stretch of the imagination. More on that in a second. But they don't have the depth. They started wearing down. And then there was the situation with the quarterback, this Kaiya Sheron. I'm going to call him K. Shara just because I can. K. Shara made his first college start last night. And to be honest with you, I think the kid played, he didn't play well, but he played, I think, as good as he could have, given the fact that he was not given any game time reps prior to this. He had 2 snaps under his belt. So I think he played well. He kind of forced some balls, too, that he probably shouldn't have thrown. Maybe he could have made some better decisions. He only threw 1 interception, but he did not look good. With that being said, that's got to be fixed with some of these teams you're playing down the stretch, because Texas A&M relies on a power running game. You know that Tennessee has developed a little bit of a running game to complement Hendon Hooker and the aerial attack. Missouri can move the football on the ground. Okay, Nathaniel Pete, transfer from Stanford, who's come in. He can move the ball. Vanderbilt can move the football on the ground. Of course, we know that Clemson, with the second best running back in the state of South Carolina, Will Shipley, number 1 back there, they can move the football on the ground for sure. So that's every team that you play. The rest of the schedule is going to be able to move the ball on the ground, and they have multiple people that can do it. That was another one of Kentucky's problems last night. Rodriguez got all the touches of the rock. Shutting him down, that was definitely a key there. South Carolina offensively, I think looked about as good as they've looked all year. Still like to see them open up the playbook a little bit more. Some stuff like I like the little end around run by Jalen Brooks there in the fourth quarter that kind of iced the game away. I thought that was a creative play call there from Marcus Satterfield. So I knew you could do it. I like my boy Jaheim. Got some touches in there. They did one of their little swing passes out to the sideline with him, and it actually picked up some yardage. Sometimes it works. Marshawn Lloyd, what can you say? 22 carries, 110 yards last night. Still fewer yards, though, than Rodriguez, so you can see there what a factor Rodriguez was in the ball game last night. Peeled off about a 50-yard run there in the fourth quarter, which Carolina Jackpot actually missed because my YouTube TV decided to be stupid and just quit on me right at that point. Nothing but good stuff there from him. Spencer Rattler looked like he calmed down a little bit in the second half, started playing better. He did fumble the ball once, 1 turnover. He threw 1 interception. But other than that, I think a pretty solid performance from Spence. Nothing overwhelming, but nice to see that. Nice to see this win last night. And then, with Kentucky, here's my thing. With the backup quarterback situation, look, I'm going to just say this. You were ranked number 13 in the country going into this game, right? That's what they had you ranked, number 13. Well, if you're the number 13 ranked team in the country, you got a coaching problem if you don't have someone developed to take some snaps. Your starter goes down. That's just it. You've played You played 5 games coming into this one. The Ole Miss game was tight. I get that, but your other 4 wins, They weren't that tight. And you didn't give this guy any game time reps. You got no game time reps against Miami, no game time reps against, excuse me, Northern Illinois, which I guess was a little bit tighter of a game than you wanted, and very little game time reps against Youngstown State, which he should have played a couple series against Youngstown State. He could have played a couple series against Miami, maybe one series against Northern Illinois. Hell, the Florida game, you had that thing salted away. Florida was a wet fart that night. They weren't doing anything. Why couldn't you put that guy in there then? Just giving him some reps. I do not understand why teams don't do that, and South Carolina's been pretty bad about doing it, period, until last year when they had to play backups because all they had was backups all year long, right? So I kind of question teams that do that, and just you being ranked number 13. I mean, you should have been prepared better than that. That's all I gotta say. Have a quarterback that doesn't look like hot garbage when he steps out onto the field. Sit here and whine and cry about it, but all in all, solid win for South Carolina. Got an off week. It's Texas A&M time coming up after the off week. Problem is, Texas A&M has an off week too, and I think that them coming into Columbia, I think that you've got them about where you want them. I think that they laid it all on the line last night in that game against Alabama. Alabama was playing with a backup quarterback, Jalen Milroe, and they still couldn't quite get it done. So I'm wondering, are they going to be a little deflated coming into Columbia? I wish that we didn't have an off week. I wish that there was an off week to kind of curb this momentum that South Carolina got from the win and to give Texas A&M an opportunity to be flat. Because Texas A&M, excuse me, has been known under Jimbo Fisher to come out and be flat at times. And I'd love to see that happen next week. But unfortunately, the game's not until 2 weeks from now, so you're going to have to be ready. Get your head on a swivel. This is a team you've never beaten, and it feels different this time with them coming into Columbia. I think you have a legitimate shot. Now they're going to be a double-digit favorite coming into Columbia. I think anywhere from 10 to 14 points, most likely. Even though they've had some losses this year, they're just better than you on the lines of scrimmage. They just are. They're better than you on the defensive line. They're better than you on the offensive line. Quarterback-wise, they're not better than you. Running back-wise, probably a little bit better than you. Wide receiver-wise, I think that the teams are probably about even, but, we'll see. We'll see how that winds up. I think it's going to be a good game. Definitely not going to be what we've seen the past 2 years between Texas A&M and South Carolina. All right. Let's get to this segment of the show that I was really, really looking forward to, and that is the Kentucky Sour Grapes edition, right? Because, like I said, every time there's a sports contest, there's a winner, and there's got to be a loser. And last night was no exception. Some Kentucky fans got a little bit upset, kind of angry, maybe even a little bit in their feelings. Let's jump into things here and see what the Kentucky man had to say about the 24-14 loss to the Gamecocks. Before I get started with this, I'd like to thank my friends over at the Mazodcast. If you're not a subscriber to the Mazodcast, I'm going to link them down in the description box below, their podcast. Even if you're not a Missouri football fan, which I guarantee most of you probably ain't, it's very entertaining. It's enlightening. They talk some other college football teams, games, betting lines, things like that, and I just have always given it a listen. They have a voice listener line, which I call into quite frequently, and they seem to have a lot of fun. So they're where I got the inspiration for this, and they're where I do a lot of the takes from this, but I don't think they have the rights nor patent on sour grapes. If they do, I mean, they'll probably bring a lawsuit against me. So in advance, thank you, Mazodcast, for the idea. But let's go on ahead and get into it right now. From the same thread there on Everything Kentucky Football, Cody Barnett says, who wants to pay top dollar for shitty seats to watch a shitty team lose to an even shittier team? Laughing emojis. We look worse than Vandy in Missouri. Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes. Okay, there's so much double talking and speaking out of both sides of your mouth on this one that this guy's face has to be permanently disfigured after he typed it. So you paid top dollar for shitty seats, okay, which makes you a dumbass, first of all, because I might pay a few dollars for shitty seats. I'm definitely not paying top dollar for them. You watched a shitty team lose to an even shittier team. Well, I got to level up with you, Cody. Last night, not only did you lose to the shittier team, you kind of got blown out by them a little bit. And saying that you look worse than Vandy in Missouri yesterday, yeah, you did. Both teams put more points on the board than yours did. Vanderbilt actually held the lead for a long portion of their game against Ole Miss, which is something you didn't do as well. Didn't you have your starting quarterback in that game too? I think you did. All right, here we got one from Facebook. This is from the Everything Kentucky Football Facebook page. And Carolina Jackpot, I'm not going to tell you, Carolina Jackpot actually snuck in the back door and was a member of the Everything Kentucky Football Facebook page because back in the day when I made a lot of preseason pick and prediction videos, I would get into these other schools' Facebook pages and stuff and post a video there to try to draw a little bit of traffic to it. I'm still on some other schools. I think I'm on a Miami, a Florida, a Georgia, a Kentucky, Tennessee, but I don't ever comment on anything. Last night I commented on a few things and probably got me the boot. I wasn't too ugly, not too ugly. But anyway, Melissa says, so embarrassed by the UK fans around me. So many screaming F this, GD that, the whole game. Have some class. And 8.5 minutes to go, the stadium cleared out. Nice message being sent to the kids on the field playing their hearts out. Watching the USC fans waving and videoing the mass exodus was embarrassing as the game. Do better, BBN.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
And I don't really want to sit here and crap talk Melissa too much here because her heart is in the right place. The UK fans, you know what, though? Here's the thing. Your heart's in the right place. But guess what, Melissa? Those people bought a ticket to that game just like you did. There are probably a lot of season ticket holders just like you may be. And they can come to the game and do what they want to. The screaming, the F this and the GD that, people get passionate. You know, they get passionate about it. And the team wasn't playing well. They were expected to win the game, and they didn't. So I get it. I mean, I've been that person before, which is why I don't go to a lot of games. I don't go to a lot of games. One of the reasons why is I can see better at home. I would rather not get in the traffic at home. Saturdays is like my only real day off that I get every week. And I don't want to spend 8-9 hours going to a football game. I just don't. So I don't go to a lot of them. But another one of the reasons I don't go is because I am too passionate. I'm too passionate, and I know that I would be the guy sitting there doing that. I would be the guy making it not a great experience for someone else in their family, and probably ended up getting into it with a fellow Gamecock fan, which I wouldn't want to do. So as a result, I just don't really go to a lot of these things. 8.5 minutes to go. Yeah, the stadium cleared out. I mean, you had a full house there. They wanted to beat the traffic. I mean, this is a story as old as the day is long, lady. I mean, you weren't showing anything on the field to make any one of those people that left with 8.5 minutes to go think that you were going to come back and win that football game. If it was a tie game, guess what? Nobody's leaving. They weren't. And South Carolina fans waving and videoing that, it ain't like we're the only ones to ever do it. And guess what? We've done it to Clemson fans before. It's been done to us before. It's just part of going to the games. If you're not going to be able to handle losing, maybe you just shouldn't go. Here's another gem from our friend Clemsonite at Queen9Suited. Says, wow, you really got them. They would have beat you by 3 touchdowns if Levi was in the game. Okay.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
Here's my thing. Would they though? Would they really have beaten South Carolina by 3? Was Levi? Okay, we beat him by 10. So is Levi worth 4 touchdowns now because they're going to beat us by 3? 4 touchdowns and a field goal. Is he worth that much? You know what? I don't think he is. I think Levi is a good quarterback. I think he's got a big arm. I think that he's pretty talented. I think that he's limited as far as receiver skill that he can throw to. I think that limits him a little bit. I think he's a little bit slow. And I'm not talking about slow up here. He may be a wizard. I'm talking about his feet are a little bit slow. I don't think that he has quite the wheels that you're looking for there. And I think that South Carolina would have won this game had Levi played or not. In fact, I predicted it Wednesday when, as far as I knew, Levi was 100% totally healthy. South Carolina's defensive line started getting a push in the second half of this football game. They had the box stacked to stop Chris Rodriguez, and they were just facing a quarterback that, quite frankly, South Carolina didn't respect enough to be able to beat them through the air. Levi is probably a quarterback that you could respect a little bit. He was better. I'm not automatically going to sit here, though, and say that he is, let's just say, 14 points better. No, I'm not buying it. South Carolina was going to win that football game last night. Mistakes or no mistakes, and wasn't really a whole lot that Levi could have done to stop it. But thank you for chiming in, Clemsonite. Congrats on the win last night, too, by the way. Matt Jones, another important person with a blue check mark at Kentucky Sports Radio, says, Mark Stoops, after the game, I jumped everyone, the players, the coaches, and even myself. I didn't get this team ready to play. It was an attitude I haven't seen around here for a long time.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
That's great. Mark Stoops. I watched his little press conference, too. And you know what's really classy about Mark Stoops is the fact that he proceeded to give South Carolina 0 credit the entire stupid interview that he did. But he did jump his he lets us know that, great attitude here and great culture. He jumped everyone. He jumped the players, and then he jumped the coaches, and then after that, he decided to jump himself, who didn't have the team ready to play. Hey, Mark, instead of jumping your players and your coaches, how about you just jump on yourself first, there, buddy? How about that? Because in a great culture, I think that the leader is the first one to take accountability and take accountability for his own actions. Right? Isn't that what a great culture has going for it? I think so. But, yeah, it was an attitude you hadn't seen around here for a long time. Well, you know what, Mark? You might be seeing a lot more of it in the future because it don't look right. Fifth quarter Kentucky at FQ Kentucky says, Scangarello, pack up your bags.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
Kentucky fans never seem to be happy with their offensive coordinator, whether they're winning 8, 9, 7, 10 games a year. I remember Eddie Graham, the former offensive coordinator. They, shit-talked him all the time. They even had a Fire Eddie Graham Facebook thing going on, which I'm sure there's multiple Fire Marcus Satterfield Facebook things going on at South Carolina as well. But honestly, yeah, I mean, this might be valid. And, you may have a point here at fifth quarter Kentucky telling Scangarello to pack up his bags because he didn't have a backup quarterback cultivated to play such a terrible team and be able to beat them. Maybe he's just not the offensive coordinator that you're looking for because guess what? You're going to have another quarterback next year, and guess what? At some point, he's going to get hurt too. All right, over on Twitter, Bobby Regan, either Regan or Reagan, not sure, but I know he's important because he's got a blue check mark by his name as well, at Barstool Riggs says, worst loss of the Stoops era. We own South Carolina, and it took being down a starting quarterback, linebacker, and right tackle for this. Never should lose to a bad team at home. Too many dumb mistakes. Awful.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
Was it really the worst loss of the Stoops era there, Mr. at Barstool Riggs? What about 2018 when you had Benny Snell and you were on your way to double-digit wins, and then you decided to go on the road and play Jeremy Pruitt with Jarrett Guerin-Dudu at quarterback in his first season, who was playing absolutely awful, and they blew you out in Knoxville? Was this a worse loss than that? I don't really think so. But please make sure we got to list off the running back was our quarterback was hurt. Our linebacker was hurt. Once again, top 13 team. You should have more linebackers than just one. Right tackle. You got 4 other offensive linemen, and you should have some depth cultivated. Plus, K. Shara was a right-handed quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. So guess what? Your left tackle position is more important than that. Losing to a bad team at home. Guess what, Bobby? After last night, I'm fully convinced that you're a bad team. Had to throw this one in there. This guy, he's got a blue check mark beside his name, so you know he's important. Mart Ryan, at Mart Ryan on air, and he is from upstate South Carolina radio. He's not from upstate South Carolina. He's actually a Florida graduate, and he fancies himself the best college football talk show on the afternoon in the state of South Carolina. I mean, some people have something to say about that. I don't really. And ever since this guy came to the radio in the state of South Carolina, I think that he's tried to stay objective, but he leans 100% Clemson, and you can see that. So I'm not going to give him a real hard time. But Mark says, all credit to the hashtag Gamecocks for a trajectory-shifting win. It's the kind of win that gets you to your mark of success of 8 wins this season. 4 wins at the halfway mark. History will not remember that UK was without their starter. Congratulations. South Carolina grew up tonight.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
I see what you're trying to say, Mark, but still, to me, too little, too late. You're not going to mend your fences with the Gamecock fans. And look, I know you came in around the time that South Carolina football had reached that pinnacle of 3 11-win seasons, 3 top 10 finishes in a row. First team in the state of South Carolina to do it, by the way. And it's gotten progressively bad since then and worse. So I get you. But talking about our mark of success being 8 wins, my mark of success is not 8 wins. I mean, do you think that's the goal? You think that's what Shane Beamer wrote all over the dry erase boards in the locker room and in the football facility? 8 wins. 8 wins. No, his goal is not 8 wins. The guy's goal is to win the SEC East. His guy's goal is to go to Atlanta. His goal, I guarantee you, is not 8 wins. So that's stupid in and of itself. And then he has to, of course, throw the little history will not remember that UK was without their starter thing in there. Look, and once again, doesn't matter. Kentucky was supposedly hashtag number 13. They should have had someone better prepared to take the snaps in the event that Will Levis was not going to play at quarterback. They just should have, period. We got a lady chiming in. Ladies of BBN at Kentucky Hot replies to Gamecocks football. There is nothing about tonight that should make USC feel like they're back. I know USC fans are smart enough not to fall for Beamer's BS. USC fans know they look like poo tonight and beat a UK team that looked worse than poo. But Beamer is a salesman who is looking for whatever.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
I mean, I think this one is, bless her heart, I mean, this is absolutely just idiotic. First of all, when did South Carolina fans ever say that beating a Kentucky team is going to say that we're back And second of all, what are we back to? We haven't done shit in 100 and something years of football, sweetheart. So I'm not sure what your back comment means there, but it is what it is. Beamer's BS. I mean, what has Beamer done? What has Beamer done not to make himself look genuine? Here's what I think about Shane Beamer. If you've ever watched Ric Flair give an interview or a promo, the guy starts tearing up. He gets emotional and he cries a lot. Nature Boy cries a lot. But, I mean, it's just emotion. I mean, because he truly loves what he's doing. Or truly loved what he did. I guess he's not active anymore. But Shane Beamer gets emotional too. He truly loves his players. He truly loves what he's doing. You can tell, I mean, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that the guy truly loves his wife and children. I mean, he puts that on display every time he's there. I mean, who else is doing that? Nobody. It's another thing, and it's not BS. I mean, his kids want to be out there on the field. They want to be around their dad, and they want to share in his happiness when he's happy, and they want to lift him up when he's not happy, obviously. So Beamer, a salesman looking for whatever, I don't know. I mean, I guess he could dress up in a stuffy suit, look like a human baked potato, and go out there and insinuate something by dishing on and talking shit about another coach in the same conference, in the same division, but he chooses to take the high road. He don't do like that. But we'll see you later, Kentucky Hot. Okay, Gary Nash, at GNash74, says, it just sucks to lose to a mediocre football team, even without our quarterback. There's just no excuse to let a JV team come in and win. Let them have their Super Bowl. When the season is over, we will be bowling, and they will at least have this to keep them from crying in the corner, to which Carolina Jackpot responded, you are a mediocre football team. And they are.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
I got to remember to put that in there at the right time. Gary, it does suck to lose to a mediocre football team. We've been doing it quite a few times over the past, however long ago 2014 was. And quite frankly, this was not a Super Bowl type win because to have a Super Bowl type win, I think that you've got to go out there and you've got to absolutely dominate. You've got to make very little mistakes, and you've just got to show clear separation between you and the other team. I don't think South Carolina did that last night. South Carolina made mistakes. South Carolina didn't look good on either line of scrimmage. In my opinion, the offensive line looked better last night than the defensive line did. I'm not going to say that. Let me scratch that just a little bit. They could have played better, but the offensive line, head and shoulders, I think, better than the defensive line. Second half, defensive line looked a lot better. But there were still things that we could do that we need to improve in our game quickly, now and yesterday, if we want to continue winning. When the season's over, you're going to be bowling. Birmingham, Shreveport, Nashville Music City Bowl, if you're lucky, Gasparilla Pirate Bowl are all accepting applications. So thanks, GNash74, for also wallowing in the misery and knowing how it feels to lose to a mediocre JV program. It sucks, and it's terrible. Here's a good one. Carter Isaacs, at Carter Isaacs21, replying to Gamecock Football, says, congrats, you beat a backup quarterback. You're proving yourself to be a poverty program. To which you'll see a Gamecock fan replied to that, we started a graduate assistant off the coaching staff last year, so what's your point?
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
If you can see the avatar or not, but Carter looks like he's quite the surfer. Look, Carter Isaacs, yes, thanks. We'll accept the congratulations. We didn't just beat a backup quarterback. We beat your entire shitty team. And we're proving ourselves to be a poverty program. How much of a poverty program would we have looked like if we hadn't beating the backup quarterback. This is, it makes no sense. South Carolina, it's high time that they went out and got a win when they should get a win, which is exactly what they did last night. No more, no less. But we will definitely take the congratulations, Carter. So thank you very much for your heartfelt vote of good gratitude. Thanks a lot, buddy. I had to lose the stupid sunglasses. Clemsonite over on Twitter, and we knew one of those was going to have to chime in with something. At Queen9Suited replied to Gamecock Football, tells key team to keep it classy, and then proceeds not to be classy. Good look.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
Shocking that we would find you over here on a Gamecock page. Look, Clemsonite, exactly what, and he was referring to after the game, Shane Beamer putting the sunglasses on, turning his hat around backwards, and dancing like a fool in the locker room to some rap music. Whatever. I mean, Mark Stoops, deserved that. He deserved that. Took a shot at Shane Beamer in his little interview after SEC Media Days for doing that. Before SEC Media Days, putting his glass on, dancing. Look, I mean, the guy is just trying to relate to the kids. That's all he's trying to do. He's trying to, get on their level, show them that he's not better than they are. It makes him look approachable. It makes him look like more than just a coach. It makes him ultimately somebody that, hey, I'm going to give him, even though his record ain't that great and his teams might not have been that great, maybe I can go down there and make a difference. He might be fun to play for. I might can learn something from this guy. That's it. Nothing more. Sorry it gets you so upset. Over on Twitter, Tropic Knight, at Tropic Knight 95. Wonder how many Tropic Nights he's had, or she. Says, nice win. Enjoy it. Last win you get rest of the season.
Sour grapes, you got a grip of sour grapes. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you got them sour grapes.
I forgot that musical masterpiece on the last one. I won't do it again. Look, Tropic, it was a nice win. We will enjoy it. And here's a spoiler for you. It ain't the last win we're getting all season. South Carolina is clearly better than Missouri. South Carolina is clearly better than Vanderbilt. That'll put South Carolina at 6 wins. South Carolina, I feel like, has a better chance of beating Texas A&M this year than they've ever had. Well, not than they've ever had, but we've got a better chance of beating them than we have in, I would say, since 2018. So am I going in there expecting a win over Texas A&M? No, I'm not. But I'm not going to sit here either and tell you that it's not possible. Tennessee, game looks more and more unwinnable by the week, doesn't it? It really does. I don't see South Carolina getting the win in Columbia over the Vols anymore. But I will tell you this, and you can sit here and laugh at me if you want to. The win of Clemson beating South Carolina is not a foregone conclusion at this point. It's just not. I don't care what the score was last night. I still don't trust the ukulele. I don't trust that he's not going to do some dumb stuff, and that he's not going to crap down the back of both legs at some point this season. We'll have to wait and see how that Notre Dame game out on the road turns out. I think we'll have a little bit to do with how South Carolina and Notre Dame, or South Carolina and Clemson, ends up. I just think that's going to be, if Clemson wins that game, that's going to be a huge confidence builder. But Clemson's got one next week on the road against Florida State, which at the beginning of the season looked like, it's going to be a Clemson blowout victory again, right? I don't know. I'm not so sure about that this time. We'll have to see. But definitely not going to be the last win the Gamecocks get this season. But guess what? If it is, I guarantee you, this is the only one that's really going to upset you. Oh, before we get started, I forgot something. Stupid sunglasses. All right, over on Twitter, Jay Brigman, at Brigman J, in response to Gamecock football says, beat a backup quarterback with 2 college snaps under his belt. You're still not good in the bottom floor of the SEC. Enjoy your win. And you see the comment below from first-class Gamecock. Doesn't matter who the QB was. Your OL is junk. South Carolina played well. Just own it. Well, South Carolina did play well in the second half of that game. It kind of got contagious, you know. Once we got 1 sack, and then there's 2 and 3, and it's like Kentucky just couldn't do anything there. But here's the thing again, Jay Brigman. 2 snaps under his belt. Whose fault is that? It's not our fault that your coach, your coaching staff, and your offensive plan didn't have K. Shara prepared to play in a ball game if needed. And here's the thing, too. Will Levis is not going to be around forever. Will Levis is not going to be around next year. He's gone. The guy's going to be in the NFL draft, and too many teams don't do enough of this, I don't feel like. They don't get a backup quarterback developed. K. Shara could be your starter next year, and what are you going to do? If Will Levis hadn't gotten hurt, he's not going to have any game time experience. It doesn't make sense. Cultivate it. Yeah, are we on the bottom floor of the SEC? Not really. We're 1-2 in the SEC. You're 1-1. Doesn't make you a whole lot better than us, Jay, and we will enjoy the win. Thanks a lot.
That's what we watched in Kroger Field tonight. I'm Nick Roush with Drew Frankel and Adam Logan. This is rapid reactions to a top 25 loss to a bad South Carolina team.
All right, that'll have to be the last one, guys, because I can't watch anymore. This gentleman, I don't know his name. He sounds like he's talking with a mouthful of dung, but I did catch that he was standing by the garbage cans because the team played like garbage. Not going to debate you on that one. Props to you and your partner, though. Looks like you work for the On3 network. Props to both of you guys for covering Kentucky and actually having teeth and looking like that you take a regular bath. I'm proud of you for that. And yeah, you know what? You lost to a bad South Carolina team. Deal with it because here's the thing. South Carolina right now is on the ascension, my friend. Your team is not on the ascension. You're not on the upward trajectory plan. You have peaked under Mark Stoops, whether you people want to admit it or not. And this may be the beginning in a string of losses to South Carolina for you. If South Carolina can get their problems fixed on the lines of scrimmage and can continue to bring in quality players at the skill positions and add quality depth with recruiting, we're doing pretty well at it right now. I think South Carolina and Shane Beamer, they're setting themselves up for a great partnership and some success down the long run. But, I'm sorry that you got to stand by the trash can. So it was so embarrassing to lose to such a bad team. Sour grapes! Hope you all enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Just look at these games yesterday. Just going to run down through some of these real quick. Michigan goes on the road to Indiana. Starts kind of slow. Game was tied, I think, at halftime. Number 4 Michigan ends up winning 31-10 over Indiana. Tennessee. You know, I'm going to sit here and tell you that I have tried my best this year to pick holes in Tennessee. And if the opportunity presents itself again, I certainly will. But it's becoming harder and harder every week to pick holes in Tennessee. That was a solid win yesterday, going on the road. You know, I know LSU's not a great team offensively. I know that they really kind of lack an identity, but that was a big win. That was a big-time road win. I don't care if LSU is on the trajectory to finish up 4-8. Still going on the road and beating them by 27 points. And honestly, could have been worse than that. It's still a big-time win. Tennessee is top 10. I think they're ranked number 6 in the newest poll. I believe that's right. And I can't say that they haven't deserved it. Hated to see Kansas' story of undefeated season come to an end yesterday. 38-31 loss to TCU. Nothing to be ashamed of there. TCU, really good team. And some other folks are going to end up losing to them too. So Kansas has got their shot at, still making a really good season out of this. Mississippi State, impressive 40-17 win over Arkansas yesterday. Arkansas, ever since that win over South Carolina and the win over Cincinnati, has just looked worse and worse every week. Florida, 24-17 over Missouri yesterday. Kind of a wet fart game between two kind of wet fart teams, and Florida comes out on top. Texas 49-0 over Oklahoma. There are some issues there. I don't really know how you can slice, dice, and fillet that one. There's some problems there in Norman, Oklahoma. Brent Venables, and like I said yesterday, Brent Venables has not faced this kind of adversity in years. I mean, he never faced it at Clemson. So how is he going to respond to that? Is he going to be able to circle the wagon, so to speak, and get that team back where they need to be? We shall see. Cincinnati struggles, but beats South Florida 28-24. I mean, nobody saw that coming either. College football is crazy. South Florida, they put everything they had into that one. They come up just short against Cincinnati. Georgia, dominant win over Auburn yesterday. Georgia was back to their normal selves yesterday. Looked good against Auburn. Oklahoma State, kind of a back-and-forth game for a while. Comes out on top, though. They're still undefeated. 41-31 over Texas Tech. UCLA, 42-32 win at home over Utah. They're still undefeated. I'm telling you, Chip Kelly, good coach, might be the best of the two Kelly brothers. He's definitely got UCLA on a roll, and we'll see. Are they the best team in the Pac-12? I think we're going to find out soon. Are they the best team in the city of Los Angeles? We may see it soon on that too. Wisconsin rebounds. First game with the interim head coach, blows out Northwestern 42-7. Ohio State blows out Michigan State 49-20. Boy, Michigan State was kind of like a one-hit wonder, wasn't they? Vanderbilt loses to Ole Miss 52-24 or 52-28. Vanderbilt actually was leading this game for a large portion of it, and then Ole Miss, just talent, skill, and speed took over, and they end up winning. Nobody really talked about this one either. It was 45-28. Ole Miss with seconds to play in that game. They get the ball down inside Vanderbilt's 5-yard line, and they punch in another touchdown, which was really unnecessary to punch in another touchdown. And then they could have kneeled on the ball, and then Lane Kiffin decides he's going to go for two, and he gets it. So I don't really understand that. I don't know the thought process. Why that was done. I don't know if the teams were talking trash to each other. I don't know if he and Clark Lee have some kind of secret beef that I don't know about. But that was just an utterly classless, douchey move for someone who's pretty much proved himself to be a classless douche anyway. So never really liked the guy for I don't know, no real reason at all. But now, thank you, Lane Kiffin, for giving me a real reason not to like you. You're a dick, and I hope your team loses next week. Arizona State, 45-38 win at home over Washington. Getting rid of Herm Edwards, probably the best thing they could do. Georgia Tech wins in overtime, 23-20 over the Dukies. 2 wins in a row for Georgia Tech. Don't look now, Georgia fans. How are you feeling about that game at the end of the season? Are you feeling a little different about it now? There's a little bit of trepidation creeping in. Maybe just a little bit. I don't know. North Carolina, 27-24 over Miami. Had one big long pass play there. North Carolina doesn't put a ton of points up on the board, but it was enough on the road to get a conference win over Miami. Should have seen this coming. Every year, they get a new coach. They get a new coordinator. They get some amazing gets out of the transfer portal. Miami just continues to disappoint. They continue to disappoint year in, year out. Another tale as old as time. Clemson Taters 31-3 over Boston College on the road. Dabo with a garbage time. Well, what really wasn't garbage time TD there against Boston College to cover the spread. Well, actually, I think the spread was 20.5. So I think he already had it covered there. Boston College just absolutely abysmal offensively. Clemson's defense was dominant in that game and kind of wore them out. The ukulele was the leading rusher last night. Oddly enough, Shipley held to only like 3 yards a carry last night. So the second best back in the state, may have been the third best back in the state yesterday, depending on how the one from Coastal Carolina did. USC struggled for a little while. They lay it on and win 30-14 at home over Washington State yesterday. They're in the top 5, I think. Or, yeah, they're ranked 6 yesterday anyway. Army loses 45-10 to Wake Forest on the road. Just absolutely. BYU drops it in Las Vegas and Sin City to Notre Dame 28-20. BYU was behind double digits in that game. Came back. It came up short. Kansas State 10-9 in an exciting game over Iowa State on the road. K-State is moving up in the rankings. Illinois with a very impressive 9-6 win over Iowa. Well, if you like defense, you need to be watching some of these Big 12 teams this year, and you definitely need to have season passes to watch all the Illinois and Iowa football that you want to, because you're not going to see a lot of scoring in those. Alabama holds on. Everybody's been talking about this game. I didn't see a ton of it. I did see most of the fourth quarter. 24-20, they hold on against Texas A&M. Texas A&M just, that play there at the end where you were on like the 2-yard line, I don't know. I don't know that was exactly the play call I would have went with. I don't know. I would have went with some kind of run fake, some kind of little quick pop to your tight end or something like that. Or, I don't know, maybe try to get somebody out on the edge. I guess you took what they thought they could give you, but I don't think there was really adequate time to get a play off there that was well thought out. So tough loss for Jimbo Fisher's team. I know they're heartbroken today, and they put everything they had into that one. NC State gets a pass interception late, seals off a 19-17 win at home over Florida State. Don't cover the spread, though. Florida State had to be a disappointing loss. Hopefully they'll be fired up for that game against Clemson next Saturday night. Who else we got? Oregon goes on the road to Arizona. No trouble there. 49-22. Arizona falls to 3-3. Last year, Arizona was this huge bet-on team that was making people a lot of money every week because they were covering the spreads. They're not doing that this year because it's like they've already exceeded their win total, and now they're back to getting blown out again by the teams they should be getting blown out by. Boise State doubles up Fresno 40-20. Fresno State just doesn't seem to have it this year. San Diego State 16-14 over Hawaii. Hawaii's terrible, but it looks like they found a little something. They lose on the mainland by 2. San Diego State's not good, though. And final game of the evening, the Beeve keeps on winning and winning and winning. They go on the road. Don't cover the spread, though, but they win 28-27 over Stanford. You got to think that David Shaw out there at Stanford is living on borrowed time. His team has been pretty bad for the past few years, ever since Bryce Love left after, 2018 season, maybe. They just have not been very good. So, all right, guys. Well, that's going to conclude everything here. Concludes the Gamecock recap, the Sour Grapes segment, and the college football wrap-up from yesterday. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Week 6 was successful for South Carolina for once, and I really do appreciate you guys watching. Thanks. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. I'll see y'all later. Peace, and I'm out. Go Gamecocks, baby, and go Coach Beamer.